Well, we know we have it on your license, Adam, but you might need to upgrade to the passport. The United States has issued its first passport with an X-gender designation and expects to be able to offer the option more broadly next year. That's according to the State Department. So the United States joins a handful of countries, random countries, Australia, New Zealand, Nepal, and Canada, in allowing its citizens to designate a gender other than male or female on their passport. The U.S. Special Diplomatic Envoy for LGBTQ rights says she sees this as a way of affirming and uplifting the human rights of trans and intersex and gender nonconforming and non-binary people everywhere.
Blah, 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 blah. Jesus fucking Christ.
You know,
I had no idea I would spend my adult life talking about places in the Middle East I'd never heard of and arguing over gender. Oh,
it's interesting because they featured this person who they don't know if it was this person's passport or not, but there's an activist that's intersex, meaning they were born with both. Oh. And there are these stories every once in a while you hear they tried to raise him as a boy, but he doesn't feel like a boy and he doesn't know why and didn't realize he was born with both. And I thought of you, Adam, because I thought, mathematically, how many people does this affect?
I can't. It's ambiguous.
It's fascinating.
It's called ambiguous genitalia. I think there is an ambiguous genitalia.
Right. And I think there was a documentary at one point called like Orchid People. Like that's the other name.
Nice try, Gina. We're not watching that.
We're not watching that. We're watching the Randy Lanier drug smuggling, race car driving fucking doc, not your fucking orchid doc.
Episode of point shaving scandal.
I heard ambiguous genitalia got drafted in the second round.
That's right. Yeah. A free safety out of LSU. All right. So there is ambiguous genitalia. There's a God knows how small a group of human beings that are sort of born with kind of both. But that's probably not measurable statistically. Then, of course, you have your gender dysphoria. But here's kind of my thing. A license, a passport, ID has information on it like your height.
Right.
And like the color of your eyes, because we're trying to produce a document that then identifies visually who you are.
I feel 6'5" and blue eyes.
Right.
So I'm going to put that in my license.
Right, but you can't do that. So because this isn't a judgment call. This is just an attempt.
Right. Information.
Well, it's when there's a fugitive, they go, he's driving a cream color Camry, 1988. Well, why are we assigning a car make, or why are we assigning a color to the car? What if the car feels like a Volvo? It's like, because we're trying to identify something.
Right.
So I would argue that in this particular case, you got to pick a major that we can identify.
That is such a good point, because when you put it like that, it seems like this is the one thing that it doesn't matter how you see yourself. It is 100% about how others see you. You can be on the grid.
What weight is listed on your driver's license?
How fucking dare you?
No, I'm here. I don't know if this counts as shitting on your point, Adam, but what do these higher? Percentage of the human population that's transgender, or percentage of women who put their accurate weight on their driver's license?
Wow.
Oh, come on.
I in this case, I think the transgendered population.
I think you're right.
I mean, but the difference is at one point I was that weight.
That's a good point.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we need to find Gina from 1988.
You got your license for 11?
Somebody build a time machine. We have a fugitive on the loose. Where's Tom Cruise?
Fuck you.
Well, also, I always wanted to do a man show bit where I worked at the DMV. And they were, they filled out the paperwork. And I was going, all right, height 5'6", with the women, and date of birth, eye color. Ooh, wait. Now, obviously, I can record this, but it's a felony to lie in this paperwork. This is official paperwork. And you're standing on a scale right now that we had mounted in the floor, and there's a digital readout. So if you want to just kind of reevaluate this paperwork.
Before the ink dries.
It'd be the greatest bit ever.
It's like the contraband trash at the airport. It's like, you got one last chance. You got one last chance before you get on this airplane and dump it. Otherwise, they're pouncing on you.
That's good. By the way, that doc I was thinking of is called Orchids, My Intersex Adventure.
Oh, now, man. Yeah.
There you
What
go.
a chances Donny Osmond has seen it?
Low.
Low?
Yeah,
Okay.
rated it.
So 3 California, and I'm very curious if Dr. Drew's heard of this. 3 California teenagers have been found to have developed psychiatric symptoms after getting COVID, and I'll explain what the link is. A research team from University of California, San Francisco performed case studies on 3 teens. Now, of course, 3 is not much, but when it comes to the virus, it acts as it flares up like an autoimmune way, and it can affect different parts of your brain. So it says, like many other organs, the brain can become inflamed as a result of person's immune system fighting the virus. Yeah.
If it affects your sense of taste and smell,
Right.
that would suggest it attacks your brain. Right?
Yeah. So Dr. Sam Pleasure, he's the neurology professor over there, co-authored the study, told the Daily Mail that there is an established link between viral infections similar to COVID and these types of psychiatric issues. If the part of the brain that controls a person's thoughts becomes inflamed, he says, then it's possible they'll face psychiatric issues. And I don't know if they're saying it's more prevalent in teenagers.
They've done something insidious, because I was just listening to potential, kind of long haulers. Carryover effects of COVID. Some people over and done with. Some people have symptoms and things that seem to carry on. But they invented this super vague term called brain fog.
Yes.
Now, if you had COVID, and anyone who's woken up on any given weekend after having a couple of drinks, like me the other night in Vegas or something, who amongst us wouldn't say, I think I got... We've all done the move where it's like you walk out to the car, you get to the car, you sit in the car, and you're like, I don't have my keys.
Right.
Like, we all do brain foggy moves all the time. I feel like if somebody said, you got this disease and the side effects of this disease is something called brain fog, I just walk around all day going, here it comes.
Brain
Right.
fog.
Here we go
Right.
again.
Yeah.
I know I got it. And anytime I couldn't think of a word, or it's like, oh, shit, what's that guy's name from that? Oh, brain fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of insidious.
Yeah.
It's super vague sounding. You're 100% right, but that's a real thing. I was diagnosed with brain fog after I had radiation. For months, I just had that fog. And I guess the difference between that and what you're describing is you don't snap out of it. I'll go, oh, my keys are in the house, or his name was Dave, or whatever. Like, it's constant. You're like, I can't focus. I can't snap onto it.
Well, and Dr. Drew said that
Hold on, who's Dave? Whoa, brain fog! Brain fog! Oh, no. Sorry.
Dr. Drew said, like, he was losing, and we just talked about he's Mr. Punctual, Mr. Everything. He was like losing hours at a time, just like staring at TikTok, and like kind of couldn't get his shit together, which is not. It doesn't sound like him. So I buy that. I don't know that it's still happening. He certainly hasn't mentioned it.
COVID's also a flimsy excuse for you to stay home and do a bunch of shit you normally wouldn't do.
Does sound
I
fun.
spent hours watching TikTok videos. Right, but
I lost an afternoon.
minus
Suffering.
minus COVID, you can't really say that out loud.
No, you sound like an asshole. Adam Levine is responding to criticism over his reaction to a stage crasher from Saturday night. Yahoo News reports that during Maroon 5's performance over at the Bowl over here, Hollywood Bowl over the weekend, Levine had his eyes closed while he was singing Sunday Morning when this girl, this woman rushed on stage, tried to hug him, threw her arms around him. The video I'll show you in a second of the moment in which he reacted, he's saying fuck, and he kind of like grimaces and kind of like visibly like shakes like a ugh. And that went viral. The problem with that, leading Levine to speak out and respond to claims that he thinks his fans are beneath him because someone randomly ran on stage and tried to hug him. So here's what happened. So he must
I
think
think he
that
actually handled it well in the
I
moment.
absolutely
Yeah.
agree. So
She kind of handled it well, too. She just gave him a hug. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It didn't seem that threatening to me.
But we're all, the hoi polloi now, according to Adam Levine.
Really? He said that?
No, but that's
no,
what
that's
they're projecting onto him.
Onto that?
Yeah. So he had
Well,
to.
he had a weird... I think it was for comic effect reaction.
Like a shimmy.
What was that?
He was clearly startled in the moment. Then he kind of played into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of well.
People didn't like it, but he has a clip of his response.
People didn't like it.
No, here's what he says.
To think that anyone would believe that I thought that our fans were beneath us or less than us makes my stomach turn. That's just not who I am. It's not who I've ever been. So I just need you guys to know I was really startled And sometimes when you're startled, you have to like shake it off and move on because I'm doing my job up there. And you know, it's what I pride myself on. So I need to let you guys know what my heart is, and my heart is that connection.
Yeah. You know, people always go, it's not who I am. It's not who I was. They should add, it's not who I'll ever going to be.
It's not who I aspire to be.
Let's do the trifecta.
Yeah.
We did the beginning, we're doing the middle, and let's
Make the
get
full
to the end.
promise.
And how do we know, tomorrow you're not going to become a pompous ass?
That's true.
Also, speaking of fans being beneath you, stop it for a second, because that is a fan I could get beneath me. I mean, physically.
She was
you got to have
nice
someone
looking lady.
She was
rush the stage. You normally get the guy who looks like the guy who works at the comic book store at The Simpsons. This
We're in leather
Yeah,
pants.
I don't mind that.
tight ass, mid-20s, long blonde hair. Not
Not too
in terms
shabby.
of getting on beneath, in terms of the fans.
At first, when I saw that look on his face, I said, I've seen that look before. That's a get the fuck off the stage look.
Yeah.
You know? But now that you say that, it might be, isn't he married?
To
or
a
in
very hot
Yeah.
model.
He's like, I got it. Come on, lady,
That's-
you're too hot to be doing this. Now,
that's
if you
what I
were a big
think.
girl, I'd be hugging all up on you.
Bahati Prinsloo. She has Hottie in her name, his wife. She
What's
is
her
so
name?
Bahati Prinsloo. And you got to see a picture of her. She is
She was drafted in the first round by the Jets.
so that could have also been like my hands are up here, Bahati.
Where's Bahati from?
Maybe. Oh, let's see. The Maroon 5 singer, an Namibian model.
Wow.
She is. I mean, she is.
Black?
No.
Oh.
She is stunning. She kind of looks like Israeli, but you'll see a picture of her. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Not bad, but would be the type that ran up on the stage there. You know?
She's from the Lower East Side of Namibia.
Oh, the white section. Okay.
Babylonia.
Okay. Well, Dawson's very proud of himself.
No, I was more proud of Brian from
Oh, that's a Wayne's
Babylonia.
World
That's good.
joke. I told her to rip
Nice.
that off from Wayne's
Yeah.
World.
So everybody got all bonerific over the Tiger King. You know, it wasn't my favorite thing, but it's coming back. Tiger King 2, the docuseries. The new series premieres November 17th on Netflix. It's described like this on Netflix. With Joe Exotic behind bars and Carol Baskin closing in on ownership of his disreputable zoo, the Emmy-nominated saga continues its twisted course with Tiger King 2. Yeah.
I'm liking my life strategy here. Because my life strategy, we brought up Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew watches the shit out of everything. He comes back, so there's all the Game of Thrones and the Tiger Kings and now the Squid Games and all that. All that stuff, right. I've not seen one frame of any of them ever, but everyone says, it's good. Like, you got to watch it, whatever. And I go, that's fine. Some point when I'm, in my mid-70s and I bust a hip and the work is dried up.
Nothing to do.
I'm going to be fucking set for the rest of my... I will have a full 10 years.
That's true.
I'll never have to watch a rerun. I'll just watch the entire series of all these prominent, great, that no one ever stops talking about. I'll just watch them back to back, straight on through, right to the grave. I'll spend my last 10 years wildly entertained.
You're the ultimate binge watcher. Just for 10 years.
10 years.
That's a good run.
Just ordering Grubhub and take it right to the grave.
That's a really good strategy.
They're doing season 2s. I
Yep.
won't watch those.
Right.
It's just going to keep going.
That's very smart.
Then I'll probably cap it off with that tranny doc you were plugging.
Orchids, my
I'll watch
intersex
that.
adventure.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen that yet.
Sure, you might
And
want to see
there's
that a couple times.
There's a list.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good idea.
I'm going to be set.
I'll show you just a little clip from the trailer in a second. But as you know, in April of this year, it was announced that NBC Universal nabbed the rights, and it's going to be, the Joe Exotic series with John Cameron Mitchell stars as Joe Exotic and Kate McKinnon as his rival Carol Baskin. So that's being shot in Brisbane right now. But this is a 2.5-minute trailer. I'm just showing you the very end of the Tiger King 2 trailer.
The plot to kill Carol is built on lies.
These people are going down.
You'd think this was Waco.
Come get me, motherfuckers.
We gotta put our differences aside. Or we're all gonna die in here. I have to make a deal with the devil, I will make a deal with the devil.
On Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing I hated about the first one is like, I get it. They're wacky. They're all crazy. They're all on Oxycontin. That's fun. But like the story is like these animals are being very abused and nobody seemed remotely interested in that. Like there was these, they're feeding them like old expired meat and they're keeping them in these little cages, but we don't care about that. Look at this guy with a crazy goatee. It's like, fuck this. But
It's interesting that as humans, we have this kind of crazy range. You know what I mean? Like you got these guys with tigers. Then there's your, inner city gangbangers. Then there's, you go back to the trans community living their best life. Then you have the guy who's, he's the ladies' man. He's got all the girlfriends. There's the international traveler. There's the recluse. There's the thrill seekers, the adrenaline junkies. Then you go to the diet, you know what I mean? This guy said, it's all fucking fast food all the time. And then you got the other guys, they're on their, they're eating sprouted wheat and paleo and all. It's so weird because if you ever think about any other animal, like zebras or penguins
like
or something, you never go, oh, don't hang out with those zebras. They're junky. Right. They'll stab you, fucking steal your Timex. Like those fucking ones over there, they stay up all night. They're louder and shit. They swear, they cuss. And then there's those ones over there. Those are very religious.
Pretty mellow.
They're very mellow. I mean, we got these guys, and then we got the Osmonds.
Yeah.
And then we got Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Like, what? How did we get this much range? You know what I mean? It's like humans.
Prefrontal cortex.
Don't you think we all kind of started off doing the same thing?
Of course.
We branched out pretty hard.
Yeah.
We
really diversified.
Yes, like all you gotta do, you just watch Netflix. You go, what are these people doing? Well, they're in a cult. You know what I mean? Like, what? He's got 29 wives. Like, why doesn't everyone just have one wife? Like, or no wives?
Yeah.
Like, how do we get this kind of range?
Great observation.
It's a lot of fucking range.
Yeah.
It's crazy range.
Yeah.
And then, how are you really supposed to know who's into what? You know what I mean?
We need bandanas for everything.
Yeah, you go, that guy could be a serial killer.
Yep.
No fucking idea. This guy could be a Jehovah's Witness. Like, I can't tell. Just looking at him.
Well, you can.
Now we put the X on the fucking license and we're really fresh out ideas. Now we got no information.
That's where your profiling comes in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Donnie's on hold. I told you.
Prompt. If you're on time, you're late.
All right, let's bring it home because the great Donnie Osmond is ready.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Orchids, my intersex adventure.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, let me tell you about ZipRecruiter. There's things you got to choose for yourself, just so you know you get the best, like steaks, a mattress, cars, things like that. Well, what if you could do that when you're hiring? You choose the ideal candidate before they apply. ZipRecruiter's invite to apply lets you pick favorites from your top candidates, and right now you can try it free. ZipRecruiter.com/Adam. Just post a job on ZipRecruiter. They send you the most qualified people. Then you easily review candidates, invite them to apply with your top choices. So put them in your top choices. Apply category. Lauren Webb, SVP of Talent Acquisitions at Medulla Health, says, we have a much higher follow-through rate if I invite candidates. It's easy for me, and it's easy for them. It is ZipRecruiter, right, Dawson?
See for yourself. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Adam, ADAM. To try ZipRecruiter for free, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Adam. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.